You might be wondering, how can silence, something so passive, be powerful, or how can my actions shock others? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore today. I remember a time when I was overlooked, underestimated, and even ignored. But instead of reacting impulsively, I chose to remain silent, to observe, to plan. And when the time was right, I took action that left everyone around me stunned. That experience taught me the immense power that lies in silence and well-planned action. And today, I want to share that knowledge with you. In this video, we'll delve into the psychology behind silence and action, learn from people who've used these tools effectively, and most importantly, equip you with practical tips and exercises to harness this power in your own life. So, are you ready to confuse them with your silence and shock them with your actions? Let's get started. Understanding the power of silence. Let's start by understanding the power of silence. Silence, my friends, is not just the absence of noise. It's a strategic tool, a language in itself. When used correctly, silence can be more impactful than the most eloquent words. It creates a sense of mystery, intrigue, and anticipation. Think about it. When someone is silent, it makes us curious. We wonder what they're thinking, what they're planning. This curiosity can give the silent person a psychological edge. Now, let's look at some real-life examples. Ever heard of Elon Musk? The tech billionaire is known for his periods of silence, especially on social media. He often goes quiet before making a big announcement, building suspense and keeping people on their toes. And it's not just in the business world. Silence is used effectively in politics, negotiations, and even in personal relationships. It's a powerful tool, if you know how to wield it. So, that's the power of silence. It's not about being quiet. It's about strategic silence, about knowing when to speak and when to hold back. How to use silence to your advantage. Now that we understand the power of silence, let's talk about how we can use it to our advantage. Remember, it's not about being silent all the time, but knowing when to use silence as a strategic tool. First and foremost, timing is crucial. Silence is most effective when it's unexpected. For instance, if someone is trying to provoke you, instead of reacting immediately, take a moment of silence. This can disarm the other person and give you time to think of the best response. Next, maintaining silence can be challenging, especially in high-pressure situations. It's important to practice self-control. Meditation and mindfulness exercises can help you stay calm and silent even when under stress. Finally, remember that silence is not about ignoring others or avoiding communication. It's about listening actively and responding thoughtfully. When you're silent, use that time to observe, to understand, and to plan your next move. So, to use silence to your advantage, remember these three things: timing, self-control, and active listening. Practice these, and you'll be well on your way to mastering the art of silence. Understanding the power of action. We've talked about the power of silence, but what happens when silence is broken? That's where action comes into play. Action is the perfect counterpoint to silence. It's the surprise element that can truly shock others. Action, especially when it's unexpected, can have a profound psychological impact. It can disrupt patterns, challenge assumptions, and command attention. Let's take an example. Remember the silent tech billionaire we talked about earlier, Elon Musk? His actions often come as a surprise, creating a buzz and making headlines. Whether it's launching a car into space or unveiling a groundbreaking innovation, his actions truly shock the world. But it's not just about grand gestures. Even small, decisive actions can have a big impact. It could be as simple as standing up for someone, taking a bold decision, or breaking away from the norm. The key is to take action that aligns with your values and goals, and that challenges the status quo. That's when you truly shock others with your actions. So, that's the power of action. It's about making a statement, about breaking the silence in a way that's unexpected and impactful. How to use action to shock others. Now that we understand the power of action, let's talk about how we can use it to shock others. Remember, it's not about being reckless or impulsive, but about taking calculated, decisive actions. Firstly, planning is key. Just like in a game of chess, every move should be calculated and purposeful. Think about the impact of your actions, anticipate reactions, and plan accordingly. Next, execution is just as important as planning. An action loses its shock value if it's not executed well. So, whether it's a business decision, a creative project, or a personal goal, make sure you follow through with determination and precision. Finally, remember that the most shocking actions are those that challenge the status quo. Don't be afraid to take risks, to stand out, to be different. As long as your actions align with your values and goals, they will command attention and respect. So, to use action to shock others, remember these three things: planning, execution, and challenging the status quo. Practice these, and you'll be well on your way to making a statement with your actions. The balance between silence and action. We've talked about the power of silence and the power of action. But the real magic happens when you learn to balance the two. It's like a dance, knowing when to step back and when to step forward. Silence and action are two sides of the same coin. They complement each other. Silence builds anticipation, and action breaks the silence, creating impact. But how do you find the right balance? It's all about understanding the situation and knowing when to use each tool. In some situations, silence may be more powerful. In others, decisive action may be required. Let's take an example. In a negotiation, you might use silence to create tension and make the other party reveal their hand. Then, you might use decisive action to seal the deal, surprising the other party with your preparedness and determination. The key is to be adaptable, to be able to switch between silence and action as the situation demands. And remember, it's not about manipulation, but about effective communication and strategic decision-making. So, that's the balance between silence and action. It's a dance, a strategy, a powerful tool that you can use to navigate your personal and professional life. Conclusion. We've come a long way today, exploring the power of silence and action, and how to use them to our advantage. We've learned that silence is not just the absence of noise, but a strategic tool that can create anticipation and give us a psychological edge. We've also learned that action, especially when it's unexpected, can shock others and command attention. It's about making a statement, about breaking the silence in a way that's impactful. But most importantly, we've learned that the real power lies in balancing silence and action. It's about knowing when to step back and when to step forward, when to observe and when to act. Remember, this is not a one-size-fits-all strategy. It's a tool that you can adapt and use in different situations, in your own unique way. So, I encourage you to practice using silence and action in your daily life and see the difference it makes. As the saying goes, speak only if it improves upon the silence. And when you do speak, let it be through actions that shock and surprise. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found this video helpful and inspiring. Stay tuned for more.